Statement out from Vodacom today saying that headline earnings per share to March 2010 are expected to be between 25% or 20 and 25% higher. They do make the reference to the fact that the BEE transaction was what impacted them in the prior period.
Yes, exactly, and I think that's why there is the pronounced jump in earnings. But it was, if you look at the absolute cents per share level, it was exactly in line with what markets were expecting. So on the face of it, I think Vodacom looks like a fairly compelling investment story. But the only problem is there's lots of opaqueness on the horizon in
the debate about whether we're seeing telecommunications stocks X growth in South Africa. And of course we know that Vodacom is highly exposed in South Africa. Certainly if you're looking to beyond South African borders, MTN does have first mover advantage on that front. And the question is, can Vodacom really play catch up to MTN on the African continent?
Yeah, I think it's a race at this stage that it's already lost. But I think the name of the game over the next 5 to 10 years is going to move from voice, where it's highly competitive, incredibly regulated, and that's going to be an increasing trend, to providing data services. And hence Vodacom made the acquisition in Nigeria of Gateway. Unfortunately to date it hasn't been fruitful for them. They've had to take
that's been very, very polite. They've had to take a lot of pain on Gateway.
Yeah, but I think if one looks behind the strategic reasoning for making an acquisition like that, globally data penetration is around 8%. It's as high as 25-26% in the US and in Europe, and in sub-Saharan Africa ex South Africa, if you round it down, it's actually at 0%. And increasingly that's going to become a major area of business. So I think they've realized and adopted their strategy to play more in the data space. And I think we've seen with companies like Altec where they've had fairly good success at the startup stage in their venture in Kenya Data Networks.
Market didn't like the third quarter production update out of BHP Bulletin. We're at the bottom of the top 40 there, down almost 2% at 243 Rand 72. Was that across your radar screen today?
I didn't see the production report, but it could also be coupled to the fact that because of the strong results that we're seeing out of the States, we did see a stronger dollar today, which did have a negative impact on the commodity complex as a whole.
Just to update you there, BHP Bulletin posted an 11% rise in third quarter iron ore production, trailing the faster expansion in iron ore output at its main rival Rio Tinto. And then it reported a heavy fall in copper output, which was down some 19% in the March quarter from a year earlier. So perhaps that did impact. Just very quickly, your comment on Greece and what you think is going to unfold on that front. We see the euro dollar trading below that 134 level at the moment.
Yeah, I think if you look at the long bond yields, they looked high in Greece at 6.9%. All of a sudden they've ballooned to 7.9%. But I think it's imperative that they do find financial aid, because as we know, there are financial speculators who are quite predatory out there. And if Greece goes, it'll certainly have a knock-on effect across Europe, across the likes of Portugal and Spain. So I think the leaders and various central bankers across that region will be doing their utmost to ensure that they obtain that finance.